Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure and delight to be here. So this is a wonderful bunch of startups, and thank you, Ashutosh, also for taking your time out. And just to let the world know that what is the format going to be, that each of these phenomenal founders are going to be spending about 10, 12 minutes talking about what they do, who they are, what are they looking at, their product, their customers, and everything else. The ground rules is that hopefully the network gods will be kind to us. We should not have a problem because we hate getting into that. Like, can you hear me now? Am I audible? Am I frozen? And all that kind of stuff that happens. But what matters is let's give a lots of love to the founders, and ultimately that's the story out here. So without further delay, Ashutosh, a couple of things from you, and then let's go.
Sure. Thanks, Vijeta. And thank you, Jagat, for this platform. So I'm Ashutosh. I do run 2 startups of my own. And other than that, I've been in the ecosystem since 2007, first in US and now here. I've invested in startups. I still do invest in startups. I do run my own investment. Other than that, I'm also a part of INQ, which is the banner under which we are doing this program. INQ is an accelerator program, and it's also a fund, so I manage that fund as well. So it's an India-Australia fund. So we do take the businesses to Australia. We're the official partners to do that. And then other than that, we also do the funding. So that's just me. Vijeta and I, we were doing this, sessions for the founders, like how, what is the startup story like, what is the startup journey like? And then part of that is, looking at the pitches, and then if we can contribute in any which way to help, weed out any problems or just give suggestions. There's no like a right or wrong answer here. It's just, from our point of view, we've seen a lot of pitches, and then, how we can make it better and how we can make it ready for investment. So that's the goal, but no critical points here. We just want to, highlight how we can make it, work fine. So that's just me. So I think we can start. Vijeta, do we have an order in which we should start?
No order, but we will I would request Dr. Simi to start off, if you don't mind.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Simi, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and then you can start.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vijeta. Just trying to share my screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. New cosmetic development product requires a large team with various skill sets, and time and cost is a critical factor here. If you look at the past 2 years, the top brands and brands that is trying to reach to the top have launched minimum 3 to 8 products in a month in the market. So this could be a difficult challenge for small scale and medium scale brands. So the product solution that we are bringing here today is trying to address this challenge for these small scale and medium scale brands. Good evening, I'm Dr. Simi Sugadan. I'm a public health and environmental remediation scientist. I'm a former chemical risk assessor for NICNAS, Department of Health, Australia. I'm currently the founder of Safety Monitor Research Foundation, an organization that creates cosmetic and personal care products for health and safety. Apart from me, there are 2 more members in our team. Soumya has 10 years of experience in IT industry. She has worked as a business analyst for life sciences, and Priya Venkat takes care of the accounting needs. So the current solution that we are providing, the company is under registration process, and we are prototyping, and it's under development. So build your products beyond basics. So if you observe the majority of the products in the Indian market, they all serve the basic purpose. When I say basic purpose, let's say you're launching a moisturizer. So the main function is to maintain the moisturizing capacity of the skin. So when you bring such a product onto the platform, you can develop a product which is not only going to address your basic functionality, but also help you to validate the safety and compliance aspects, along with an enhanced level of transparency. So that's our solution. So if you look into the basic cosmetic developmental process, there are about 6 steps. So from the ideation stage, you have to procure raw materials, and you have 3 important steps after the procurement of the raw materials. Your formulation stage, which is an entirely different discipline, and you have the safety testing, which is an entirely different skill set. And then your compliance check, which is also another entirely different skill set. So what happens in the current trend is majority of the small scale and medium scale brands, they would stop with formulation stage, where they do the basic efficacy test and then do some minimal safety checks, and then they stop the process. The reason being is the next 2 steps are quite expensive and need a different skill set, and often they do not have the resources and the money for it. So what we are trying to do today is to provide them a cross-disciplinary platform where we will cover these 3 steps. Basically, we will do the formulation efficacy testing, and then we will help them to evaluate the safety of the formulation, and also we will check the compliance of the product. So when we say safety evaluation, it is not a basic safety evaluation check, which is like when you apply the new product, if your skin is irritating, or if you feel there is pigmentation of your skin, these are all visible safety checks. We are doing a in-depth assessment where we will see whether the ingredient that is used in this product is going to cause a potential, can be a potential cancer causing chemical, or whether there is going to be a potential hormonal disruption problems. So all these things are integrated into this platform. So how do we do that? So this is an automated cross-disciplinary platform where all these 3 main disciplines is integrated into an algorithm. So when the brand feeds the data to the platform, the data will be analyzed using our algorithm, and it will be providing the brand with a simplified report. So how do we do that analysis? We have about 200,000 plus ingredients, which we have sourced from reliable governmental agencies. And using this database, we will set the tiered approach algorithm, and we will do the analysis and provide the report for the brands. So the method of the algorithm that is carrying out the assessment is of international standards. It meets the risk assessment of European standards. So the report that you get is of European standards. So to have a better understanding about the benefits of current conventional methodology of development against the automated process, I have drawn a graph where you can see the time against the cost. So currently, if you see the conventional process, it depends on the cost of developing a product, depends on the product type. So it ranges between 5,000 rupees to 6 lakhs rupees, and the developmental time takes about 3 months to 2 years. So we have taken a basic assumption of 6,800 rupees for developmental costs in this graph, and about 140 days to develop the product. So this is the conventional time taken and the cost. So over here, if you see the green line, over here, that is the cost that will be incurred by the brand if they are using this platform. The reason is, at the ideation stage itself, we will be giving all the information belonging to the 3 disciplines. That is the formulation efficacy, and then we will give the safety efficacy and the compliance check, which means by the time they finish the formulating the product, they will not have any big surprises, so that they don't need to go back to the lab. Another feature in terms, so that is the time factor. So if you see, within 30 days, they can potentially come up with a product against 140 days over here, because they have to go to different consultants or different departments where they might take more time, and in the process, they may miss some information. So in terms of the cost, what happens is, at the ideation stage, we will give them certain level of information about the ingredients that they are using in the formulation, which will help them to plan their experiments more effectively. So the probability of getting a success rate will be very high with these information that we provide. So we anticipate the amount of resources that they are going to use in the trial and error procedures will come down and the success rate will increase. So in terms of market size, we are looking at the current market is about 13 billion USD, and the growth is a double-digit growth, and it is expected to become close to 30 billion by 2026. So the current domestic market, the MSMEs and the SMEs comprises about 48.5%, and we expect if the platform is widely used, this percentage is going to become a bit higher. So, currently, if you look at the market, we find the products that is available in the market is catering to a single discipline. So, when I say single discipline, it could be a software that helps you to formulate the product only, and it will not assess the compliance or the safety aspects, or it will be a product that will be looking at the safety aspects of the chemical. So when I say safety aspects of the chemical, mostly these softwares are catering new chemicals that is coming into the market for new product developments. So there is no, as far as our market research shows, there is no platform which is addressing the existing chemicals in the market for such kind of analysis. So when I say existing chemicals, except for the top 10 players in the market, all the remaining players would be using only existing chemicals for their product development. So we are trying to use this as an opportunity. So in terms of our revenue plans, we have 4 different plans, and the first 3 plans will be catering to the cosmetic brands and formulators and pharmacologists, while the e-commerce platform kit is something where the e-commerce platform can use our application to check whether the product that is going onto the platform is compliant or not. So in terms of economic moat, we can add additional features as we grow, which is the product management features, which becomes a complete product software tool, which can be used by all brands. And then we can further extend it to life cycle assessment, where we can include the environmental aspects as well, environmental impact aspects as well. And then we can even grow up to the computational safety testing, because we have a lot of regulations coming up. India is a country where animal testing is not allowed. So computational safety testing, it can adopt to that level. And we also think we are very sure that we can also provide AI suggestions, where with the mother set of formulations that the brand comes in, we can suggest them further how to increase their product category further. So these are some of our web application product screens that we plan to have on the application. So if you see here, one of the test reports for the brand would be we will give the overall performance of the product. So overall performance in terms of the key indicators like cancer, allergy, and immunotoxicity, and developmental and reproductive toxicity. So these are additional information which is presented in a simplified form. So we tried to do a break-even analysis for the first year. So we feel if we are able to bring in an e-commerce platform onto our application, we can get break-even in the first year itself. In terms of ask, because we are a very early stage startup, we definitely need mentoring support, and we need industry connects, and we want to understand how to build a strong team, and we also need funds to build the minimum viable product, and we look at a fund of about 10 to 15 lakh rupees currently. Thank you for the opportunity. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sumi. I think it's a very interesting product. Seeing the variety of products that we see, this is quite different from what we have. In terms of the pitch, though, the first thing is the story that is there, right? I mean, it's a fantastic story, but I think in the pitch document it didn't come out nicely. So I think the problem statement, we all know the problem statement. It's just that in terms of the number, I think she dropped off. She did still. Vijay, do you see her?
No, she's dropped out. She's dropped out, I think. Okay. That's fine. So in the interest of time, Ashutosh, you want to kind of continue either with Mayank? Yeah.
Yes.
You have your inputs. That's fine. Who would like to go next? Who's comfortable? Mayank has started. Okay, Mayank has started. Great. Okay. Please. Mayank? Yeah.
I'm just...
No, Dr. Simi, don't worry. We'll come back. Yeah, we can hear you. We'll come back to you, Dr. Simi. We'll come back to you. Like Mayank is just starting. We'll come back to you. Don't worry.
Mayank, you're on mute. So once you start.
Hi, everybody. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm just going to set this up. So yeah, starting with our venture name is Sustainify, and we all know what climate apocalypse is going on, and we as geeks wanted to do something about it, and hence we started Sustainify. I'll just take you through the deck, and then I'll be open to questions after that.
Sure.
So as a background story, I started with Geek around 13 years back. It's a marketing advertising agency. We've worked with 600 plus brands. We've done 2,000 plus campaigns. But of course, this is capitalism heavy, right? Like this is us being a catalyst to capitalism, basically. So yeah, there was this passion call where from inside me, and around 3 years back, we started looking at things in a different direction, along with keeping Geek as the standard capitalism catalyst. So I took Earth as my client. I took Earth as my always to be client. And I also looked at sustainability and how next 10 years is the most important and crucial for sustainability as a category in itself, because of climate change, because of a lot of other things which are going on currently in the human cycle. And hence, we picked up, taking these things into consideration, we picked up Sustainify as our next venture. The idea of Sustainify to start with was very, very simple, that we are not going to stop shopping, but we can certainly shop sustainable products so that we can have an infinite human life on Earth. Because at the rate of where we are going, we've already crossed the threshold limits in terms of our population, the garbage we are growing with, and the shopping spree we are at. So keeping this as the background, we started a little bit. So yeah, that was the change which brought about this balance where I switched over to become an environmentalist, a global citizen, a peace enthusiast, from business development, digital marketing, serial entrepreneur kind of a journey. So that was the switch. It's just a balance. I would call it more a balance than a switch, where I've tried to like balance capitalism with giving back to the community through this venture. Although the venture is not completely a non-profit organization, it's a completely profitable organization. We hear a lot about sustainability, but not a lot of people are clear about the word sustainability, and it has multiple meanings. So hence we shortened this noun form to a verb, where we mean Sustainify means action, and action which you and me can do so that we can all look at Earth in a much more sustainable way to come forward. So keeping that in mind, since we already had a lot of MNC clients in Geek, we started pitching our services to our clients itself. And we did a lot of B2B validation where big brands, they're all talking about sustainability and were ready to do certain case studies for us. So we worked with Pepsi, Forever Mark India, Ola India, and Tata Trust to do multiple B2B Sustainify campaigns with them. And we know that currently sustainability is the biggest talk, and there are all sorts of Unilevers and all MNCs talking about sustainability being the key impact area. So we know that there is a lot of people looking at this segment, and hence we came out with Sustainify as the. So now in Sustainify we have a lot of B2B, a lot of B2C. These are some consumer target audience that we have put together. B2B, we have already started. B2C is where we want to go towards. And of course, there is a big demand where a lot of people are launching their eco-friendly products, and they don't have like a Myntra or any aggregator where they can put their products together without knowing a lot about marketing and advertising. So to solve all these channel issues is where we brought Sustainify together. Now, looking at the target customers, we have like 3 different big target customers. One are the millennials who understands that life is going to be tough 5-10 years down the line, and they're really active and they want to embrace environment conscious things. In fact, the age group is dropping down from 10-year-old kids are also looking to jump onto a sustainable or a healthy lifestyle. To the other end of the customer, which is a conscious high spender who is looking out for organic, who's family oriented, who's health oriented, who's trying to adopt sustainable practices. So these are the B2C customers. Whereas in terms of B2B customers, we of course have the multinational corporations who are leading, which has a CSR arm, which has which has a mandate to sustainability as well. So these are our key target groups right now. And we have various revenue models which can be generated inside these, whether they are brand sponsorship, subscription-based models, whether there's corporate gifts, CSR campaigns, carbon trading. There's a lot of revenue models which are there in Sustainify currently, which is in B2C, B2B, and B2V as 3 different channels which we are trying to develop. Why sustainability is so important in the future is that our landfills and plastic being one of the key issues across, and having more carbon in the atmosphere, increasing our carbon footprint and reducing that is very important, that we switch to an eco-friendly or natural or biodegradable consumer cycle, right? And we upcycle our products rather than just throwing them after one use. Not just that, it also affects the overall health of each individual. Like every product, which most of the products currently have chemicals which are not good, rather than there is always an alternative natural organic product which is available. So why not shift there? Along with this, we've also been able to make kits. Kits are full solutions to lifestyle problems, and these kits are much cheaper in the long run if you attain a sustainable lifestyle, because that's been one of the key things which the network keeps telling us, that sustainability means expensive products, whereas through these kits we've been able to solve that problem currently. So we have an e-commerce platform already. We have a B2B channel already. We are working on a multi-vendor marketplace where any eco-friendly person can come in and we certify them, and then they can sell directly to the consumer. We have a publication which we are working on because we want to become the authority of sustainability in India, and then hence get sustainable development across the next 10 years and be really the flag holder for sustainability in India. We have some advantages over other smaller players in the market right now. Of course, we were of course one of the first to market. We have an agency and client partnership with 600 plus MNCs right now, which we are already taking up in our B2B scenarios. We're just about completed with our multi-vendor marketplace platform, where a lot of the whole industry can come together on the platform. We've also worked on a subscription-based model, which really increases our profit margins and also keeps the user in a sustainable lifestyle for a longer time. Otherwise, normally we've seen people take a product and then go back to the normal products. We have a lot of influencers and bloggers which are part of our Geek database, and we've already sent like a starter gift from Sustainify to them, and a lot of them have started doing stories and covering us on social networks. So that's like a PR partnership outreach that we have currently, which we are taking care of. And the last is that we have solutions for all lifestyle categories, whether it be kitchen, whether it be your morning, whether it be your office, whether it be your bathroom, whether it be your any facet of your lifestyle. We have an alternative product for the same. In terms of the team, we of course have Geeks team, which is backing up in our marketing needs. But other than that, it's me. We have an HR specialist in Apurva Jaiswal, who's been in HR for 7 to 10 years. And she brings in a lot of HR perspective, because a lot of team building exercises are also which we are looking at, which are going to be driven sustainably. Then there is 2 Germans which are there in our team, and they bring in a lot of knowledge from a developed country. One of them even lives completely of a natural lifestyle, and then she's become one of our front face. Whereas Suzanne, she's completely into C2C, cradle to cradle sustainability services, and works at a landfill. So she has a lot of ground knowledge. And then we have Naveen, who's an artist who does a lot of innovation into our products. So this is the core team, along with Geek, which works as our creative and marketing team as well. So that's basically my presentation. It's a little short, but we've tried to just showcase the scenario currently, and then look for suggestions or look for things which we should add in this.
Thank you, Mike. It's a very topic which is very close to my heart, actually. So before I start, I mean, are you looking for investment? What is your with this presentation? What's the goal? Is it for investors? Is it for like businesses? Where is this presentation?
It is an investor pitch itself. We are looking for basically we know how to grow in B2B, but B2C is a different ball game altogether. We need a lot of like sustainability is not just giving sustainable products, but also is a lot of other things in packaging. We have to be sustainable in packaging. We have to make sure that the local produce reaches to the local produce. Hence, there's a lot of smaller investments which needs to be made for going big into B2C market. Another thing is that almost no eco-friendly products is hitting the retail right now. There's absolutely zero products in retail. which are eco-friendly. Right, so those are some channels which we want to really go behind, and we know that there's a huge potential which is there. But yeah, that's what we are looking for an investment, so that we can grow in those fields. B2B, we know with Geek we'll be able to grow as we go along, because it's a constant pitch which goes with each of our pitches, basically, right? So B2B we are very comfortable doing. B2C is where we want to really open up the market, and hence looking for an investment for that.
So from an investment perspective, right, the whole sustainable development is a very broad topic. I mean, right. Even if you look at just the B2C aspect of it, so that's also a very broad topic. So it's a problem statement that people understand very well, but when you're talking about an investment, right? So they would look at, let's say, you know, you want to raise 500K. So
right.
If you, let's say, if you want to raise 500K, which area of sustainable development that you are going to target? Is it like because you have an e-commerce platform, right? So yes. Is it going to be, you know, like product based, or is it going to be, you know, more eco-friendly things? So what is the area that you're going to target?
So we basically, again, are not producing anything, first thing first, right? So we've kept our operational cost really low. What we are trying to build is a platform or a place where all eco-friendly shopping or all eco-friendly vendors can come together, right? So certainly we are not looking to produce anything. Maximum, we have found out actually that we can increase our margins by doing simple innovations to current products. Right. For example, one of our star products, which we went into B2C for the first time during this Ganpati Visarjan time. And all we did was we took a clay Ganpati and we made it hollow from under, and we put a seed ball inside it. Right. So it's actually like a product which is like 40 to 50 rupees is what it costs us. And then the Eco Ganesha was sold at like 500 rupees. Right, so simple innovations could bring us like huge margins. That's one of the key aspects. We actually have other slides as well where we are even pitching for what we need versus what we offer to the investor. And there are certain other slides where we're also talking about the market size and what can be taken up. And in fact, there's a lot of small stores which have already started, but we are looking to take this first of all from e-commerce perspective and then from a retail perspective. So which is where I can quickly share my screen again and just show you this one slide. Maybe that could answer. Let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah.
So basically we had made a plan of around 1 million is what our requirement is over the next 18 months, where we want to really go behind onboarding 1,000+ vendors. That means vendors from all across India, right? Because again, local supply is what we are looking to go to. Other than that, we are looking to really invest into operations and business development, and part of it will be aggressive marketing campaigns, which we are looking to do, along with the corporate partnerships and going to a retail line is what our requirement is. And in terms of what we offer, we're a very young private limited company, but we're looking to, for the investor, take 20% equity share, because we really think that we are looking for a strategical investor more than just an investor with money, because of the whole idea also of sustainability not being understood by everybody, right? And if there is an investor who's only looking for X ROIs, that becomes a little difficult in sustainability. And it is something which only a strategic investor would understand, who understands sustainability, that this is the segment in the next 10-15 years which is going to be the main segment, and comes in like that. And that's why we are also offering a higher stake in the current company, because we really need somebody who has the network and the understanding to then add to our already existing good model.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you'll find a lot of investors who are into the sustainability way.
Sure.
But the question will always come back to which is the area where you started. So this slide did give me some some idea of what that investment will go for, right?
Sure.
Because even if you look at the UN SDG goals, right, there's like a 7-channel goal.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's not like we can cover all of that in.
Right.
So that's one area where I think if you can align that with the solution, that will be helpful.
Right.
I understand that you don't want to share that part, so just just like a highlight.
This was like a short presentation, so I tried to focus on the problem and what we are looking for. But we have like a 100-page slider, which has even a financial study, which has a market study, which goes deeper into the finance part of things, what we will do with this 1 million, etc.
Okay. And the second thing is, because you are building an e-commerce platform, right? I would list a CTO in your team. So even if you have like someone outside, because that becomes a huge hindrance. Because the moment e-commerce comes in, the moment sustainability comes in, you're talking about scale. And then if you don't have a technology person on board, that becomes
Sure.
So having that would be very helpful.
Thank you. That's a great input.
So other than that, I think one more thing. While we do agree that capitalism is terrible, I would cut down on the amount of times you would say that, right? Because eventually whoever is investing is going to be part of that, right?
It's something which is coming out of passion, actually. So that's why probably is working as a long story. Try to cut it short.
Yeah, so just that those three are my inputs. Over to you, Vijeta. Vijeta?
Yeah, Ashutosh, great. Yeah. So I'm listening in, and I think those are absolutely valuable inputs, definitely. So Mayank, what we'll do is we'll just move to the 3D page, and hopefully connections and audio will work well. I think he just dropped out again, Ashutosh. Ashutosh, I'll do one thing. Just
we'll just.
Good. Dr. Simi, you couldn't complete your feedback. Why did you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's do that.
Right. So, Doctor, the problem statement, right? Because it's such a big problem statement. We're talking about cosmetics and all. Having like numbers, in terms of like when you're defining the problem statement. Let's say X number of products. These number. This is not validated, or like these are not. There's no theory behind it, or something like that, right? So that becomes a very targeted problem statement, right? It took me a while. Once I started looking at the solution, then only I got into the research part of it, right? So having that very crisp problem statement just goes on with the story that this is what we are trying to do, right? Because the cosmetic market is also huge, right? But then there's like tiered. So there's like the bigger brands where they're maintaining some kind of R&D, they're maintaining some kind of regulations. Then there's the middle tier brands, and then there's the low tier brands. So obviously the problems are more towards geared towards, I would assume, right? So geared towards the lower tier brands. So that should come out, right? So that should come out from the presentation that this is where the problem is, right? So I mean, because when we are talking about like medium to low cost brands, right? That's what people are buying, right? So that's where the problem is. So I understand that problem, but if it comes from the presentation, it will make it much more better, right? The second is again the same feedback here, because you're talking about a semi-chemical process, semi-technology, right? Because you're talking about scale, and then you added data science and all. So having a technology person will be very helpful, because this question will hit you very hard that how are you going to do the quality, because it involves regulations, it involves talking to different branches of the government, and then so how are you going to do that, right? So have an advisor who's been in the field, I mean apart from you, right? So that they're taking you to the journey of like how regulations are to be handled, and then how you get this approval, right? So that's one part, and then the second is a scale, like a technology person or a technology partner who can assess this and then bring your chemical risk and all that assessment to a, like an algorithm and then move forward. Right? So those are the just two things that I felt was.
Just to add on, actually we have developed the algorithm. It's just that we have to implement it. But it was good to have your insights, because one of my biggest confusion in my head was whether to look for a co-founder in terms of the tech, tech development. So I could get the feedback from you, so it gave me a bit of clarity on those lines. And in terms of the compliance thing, I'm not sure whether I have understood your feedback in terms of the compliance thing. So you are suggesting to have a person who has a compliance tech background. Is that what you're saying? Or
I mean, see, the thing is that this is a very unique field, right? So you'll not find a lot of startups or investors who are very well versed in this. So what will happen is that the question will come is that if you're launching something which is going to evaluate a product, let's say, you had that coconut oil example. So if you have a coconut oil and then you are evaluating the metrics of, how that coconut oil is, right? So why would a brand incorporate that, right? Or if because you're going to a customer, right? So why would they do that? So if it comes from a regulatory authority or compliance authority, then it becomes right. So that's where because
get some accreditation of our platform. Is that what?
Yes. Because that bridges the gap between the understanding of the investor or the business owner to your product, right? So they'll say that there is an authority in between which is responsible.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Vijayta sir, your feedback?
I think it's good enough. So one thing that I would like to share with both Dr. Simi and with Mayank, how has been your experience? Like have you approached any investors? How has been that experience?
No, actually, this is my first
it's your first time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is my first presentation. In fact, my pitch deck was just developed yesterday, so it was just 24 hours.
No problem. So see, the thinking here is like this, right? Imagine that you put yourself always in their shoes, and the mindset should be that, like if it was an investor, you were an investor, okay, what would you look for? What would excite you? What would make you want to take this presentation, everything to the team? Remember, this is not about an individual decision. Even if it's an angel investor or an HA investor, they will have someone who also gives them some inputs and guidance. Okay, so think along those lines always. Think along what is the information that is very necessary for them to be looking at, so that they'd want to talk to you and take the discussion or the conversation and the meetings forward. Okay? So it's not about me or Ashutosh alone giving some kind of feedback. Obviously, Ashutosh is an investor. He runs his own startups. He also interacts with lots of investors. But think on the investor yourself. Would you invest in your company? Is the USP strong? Is the team strong? Is the advisory board strong? Is the target customers that you're going to chase, are they going to be one-off, or are they going to be someone who's going to stay with you for many, many years and they'll keep paying? So these are the kind of, this recurring revenues, steady revenues, profitable customers is what excites the investor, right? So just think about that, and you should be very calm about it, because you're being tough with yourself. All right, you're actually analyzing yourself and finding out if you have any gaps. Okay, so that's the only thing, man. I mean, look, here we are here to support you, we're here to guide you, we're here to do as much as we can for you, and that's the principle of the whole conversation out here. Okay.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, if you guys want any help further, we are there on that group. We can reach out to them.
Absolutely, and do as much research work as possible in terms of, I would not say just competition, but look at some of the other companies in your areas. How are they doing? What is their website looking like? And if do they have any investors? Okay, try to understand the profile of those investors, because maybe the same investors may not be someone that would touch you, because you don't want to have a competitive thing, whatever it is. But there are like-minded investors, right? Just keep these few things in mind. I'm sure that in the future this will definitely help you also. Okay, and Mayank, what is it that you are worried about?
Not really worried, actually. In fact, not even sure if you're looking for an investor, to tell you the truth.
Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
In fact, even investors will tell you that don't try to delay the investment as much as possible, because evaluation looks. Yeah, because then your evaluation will be much more.
Right? Yeah, it was just that there is a lot of smaller shops which are growing. Okay, that's the only challenge currently which we want. That is why we thought that, hey, let's at least go on the platform. Let's try to start pitching to some investors, because there is almost no brand currently which can be said that, hey, they are the best brand for eco-friendly products. And that is the only space which we don't want to lose too quickly, because we are so ahead in the game right now, especially with our B2B connections and everything, that we just don't want to leave that marketplace slot. And that pretty much is the only reason why we are here actually today.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, I mean, I think even consumer behavior has changed a lot.
Yes.
People want to reduce carbon footprint. They want to use sustainable products.
Absolutely.
And but yes, fine. But at the same time, I genuinely believe that it's not just about a brand, right? I mean, see, a brand is be a little bit cautious about this when you say brand, because you have to invest a lot behind the brand. That's huge money. That's huge money just investing on the brand, not on product, not on distribution, not on marketing, not on anything else, just the brand.
Right.
You need a massive team on that.
Sure.
Okay, so just think very cautiously about that. I mean, do you want to go that game, or do you just want to make money and live happily ever after?
That part is actually done. It's more like it is certainly being the leadership in sustainability in India. And that is why we are also looking at a publication, right? Like, we're looking to start a little magazine where we interview everybody in sustainability and then take that ownership, because that will take a leadership profile.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
nice, Mayank. We anyway have Jagat here. Hi, Jagat. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. And it's nice to see you here. How things going on? Thank you so much once again for giving us this beautiful platform.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I think Trividesh is having a tough time with his internet connectivity.
Yes.
So, but we anticipated it, and that's how it. So, but for just to let you guys know, Mayank and Dr. Simi, that Jagat has raised some money from angels from HNIs, a very good 8 or 10 investors, if I'm not mistaken. He has got his own publication, still raising money again, and fighting it out in the market to bring in more and more customers.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Jagat? What's happening with you?
Well, I think never been better. It's always better, I think. As long as we are kind of working hard, I think life sorts itself. There's always ups and downs, but you wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and you do your thing. So
okay.
Life's good. It's good.
Yeah, sure. So, maybe for the understanding of Mayank and Dr. Simi, what are the kind of conversations you have with your investors? What are the questions that they were asking you before they put in money? And what were the 101 questions they were asking you after they put in the money?
So I think the case where we raised our first round, ironically, we were not aggressively looking for money. I had decided to bootstrap it for a while, and I kind of set the pace, because back in 2019, people weren't too bullish on video conferencing or webinars. It wasn't really in the main radar, right? Sure. So it was all right, and we were kind of ready for the long run. But I think the kind of conversation, ultimately, it's really coming down, I would say, to two things: the market and the product. And I think sometimes the product can have a wow factor more than even the market. So for us, it was really about the quick connection, the video coming, right there, and high quality. That really does it a lot of times. And back then it was important. We didn't have really video. So I think number one is the product. The product has to have that wow factor. I think as a founder, you have to kind of have that where, when someone sees your product, and today when they come into the room, the themed rooms, or they see our virtual office, to us, it's more, it's not about whether they're paying money. That's secondary. The first is, is there that wow factor? Do they say, wow, what is this thing? That's, I think, most important. And I think that's the work towards that. Like, that's the Zen, I think if you can do that, things around it will fall together. But of course, market, valuations, all these come in later. But that only happens once you have their buy-in, they bought before they bought.
Good. That's an interesting thought process also. So, Dr. Simi and Mayank, what are the questions that you want to ask to Ashutosh? Right, you have done your presentation, but what do you think? Any other clarity that you'd like to kind of get from him? Maybe Ashutosh, we could open up the field on those tracks also.
Yeah, absolutely.
one of the main things which I wanted to know was, is there really a end slider deck kind of like what to present, because there's so much to present and there is so little time normally, right? There's so is there like a win presentation style or slides which
yes, there is. So I will share that in the group. Guy Kawasaki has a very good, like 10 slider that you can.
Nice. That will be really helpful.
Yeah, and even Sequoia has a very, like a crisp pitch. But the general idea is that you start with the story, and then have the problem statement, and then you talk about the solution, and then you get into the themes and then the market. Right? So,
sure.
Like Jagat was saying, because every time either the market is too big or too small.
Yeah,
and that's what decides the the mentality of the person whether they want to invest. So so that's where it becomes very high. And just I'll add to that, right? I mean, understanding the investor's mindset also. Right? So there are several types of investors. If you're going into the angel investment, right? I mean, their thesis is pretty straightforward. Right? So the angel investors are usually into one type of product. Like for me, it's more about technology. If you show me a good technology, I'd like to put in the first one. Right? So that's how and most angel investors have a thesis around it. Right? So if they're into this video, they'll get into that. So they'll be in that. But if you get into the medium tier to the top tier, the Axis and the Sequoias of the world, their philosophy is quite different. Right? So they would like to see that either the return on investment, or they would like to play that blind game. Right? So it will be either one of those two. Right? So as much as you do your research on your marketing and then the sales, it's equivalent that you do the same research for your investor. Sure. Which is why I always tell that when you are presenting it to an investor, look at the investor himself, and then tweak the pitch deck a little bit to follow that investor's style. So a lot of times what happens is that your base format is the same, right? Even I have like 100-page presentation, but when we go to the investor, so it reduces down to 7 to 12 depending on the investor.
Right.
Investors, but in general, right? So that's the theory. So understanding the pedigree of the investor is also very
important.
Okay, Ashutosh, I have one question. So as you can see that we are yet to make any revenue, we are yet to start with the actual product. And so the pitch is the key area for us to get the investor. So with my presentation as an example, you obviously gave the feedback. So what you said, you said the pitch is not giving the information correctly, but you were able to understand the problem statement with the presentation that I did. So in such a scenario, let's imagine the investor is investing in cosmetic space. How would the investor respond? Would he still interested, or you might want to see how does it work?
So what would happen in most of the times is that you'd be sending over the presentation. The reason why I was very at that point was when you send a presentation, right, you're not there. Right? So it's just your presentation which is not there. And that if the story doesn't come out, so most likely the next call does. So that's why I was saying that having that clarity is important. Having said that, the investors usually will go for a story which will either make them 10 times the revenue, or B, it's something which is in their path of in their current path, right? So every investment house, especially in US and India, they keep a budget which is for sustainable development, or for like one area that they are exploring. So that's the exploratory, investment is as they call it, right? So in the exploratory investment, they're not looking in terms of like the revenue. So they're looking more in terms of supporting a business which is in line with what they're doing. Right? So that's where a lot of investors will come in, and then they will want to invest. Right? So that's where the research comes in, to look at the investor and then to look at the research. But having said that, your first pitch will not be by you. It will be by your presentation that you send over an email. Right? So there, the cover story, right? So that email body that you write, what you are and what you do, plus that problem statement becomes very important for them to even look at, understand and say that, this is what we are interested in to invest.
Okay, thank you.
Akhil is raising hand. I wonder what Akhil, do you want to join us? Akhil's getting bored backstage. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, sir.
No, I just want to say hi and thank you for joining.
This is Akhil. Akhil is our CTO. He works very, very hard. And
finally, nice to put in the face of the name. Hi, Akhil.
Hi, Akhil.
Hello.
I think Akhil, and thanks from everyone here for always making sure everything works.
Here.
Next time we'll get you on the big screen.
Yeah.
Cheers.
In fact, I have shared the link if anyone wants to join in. I think we have Lagan and Naval and everyone. So see, some of the things that there's so much of reading that we do about investments are still coming in at seed, angel, family, friends. But of course, customer money, Dr. Simi and Mayank are important. And I think both of you are, you understand it very, very clearly. And that's very critical. Right. Of course, when you're really looking at global scale, like how Jagat is looking, then yes, you need a lot of external funding, and you need to ramp up your tech, you need to ramp up your teams, you need to, whatever, you got to get thousands and thousands of customers going, and video is a huge thing. Virtual office is going to be the next big thing. And so there are different scenarios, different games. And Ashutosh, what about deep tech and sustainability, right? These are the two very diverse. So what is your scenarios on that? One hears a lot of things, reads a lot of things, but from the Valley, any perspective that you have that you would like to quickly share with the audience as well?
Also, just one, Ashutosh, just 1 second. Since Akhil's here, he doesn't make an appearance, so let me take this chance. We'll get Akhil. I just my own take, right? I'd love to do this because I've never spoken to him, but on the platform, see, technology is a big kind of change maker, right, Akhil? I mean, if we can just technology enable, make these companies tech first completely, their whole business model would change, right? The valuation and the way they look at the business, the way investors also look at it. So you've been building all this stuff for so long, and you have a lot of expertise. Now, if you had to just suggest to them two tips that you have kind of learned over the past 5-6 years of development, what are 2 big rules that you have learned? Please share them with us. Can I take that? Let him do that. Go ahead.
So one big rule is one big tip that I've learned is instead of building out everything, is to kind of get validate the need before building out features and stuff. So suppose you think that something is going to work well, create a landing page and drive traffic to it. And if no one signs up, that means no one really needs it as much as rather than building out a large feature and then hope of pushing marketing on it.
Smoke testing. Smoke screen test. Yeah.
Like a fail fast test.
Yeah, smoke screen. I mean, just have a landing page up there, drive 500 rupees AdWords traffic, 1,000 rupees AdWord traffic. See the kind of demand, that will validate a lot. Yeah, which products to sell, over which. Instead of building out the whole thing, do quick tests, 1,000, 5,000 rupees. That's one. Yeah. And second one, Akhil?
And then when the product is already built, kind of let the user navigate the product without you being there. So a lot of the bugs and issues that users face that we will not notice is where the users actually use it without our interference.
Right.
Super. Great. Akhil, if you're busy, you can carry on, or anything else, you can hang out up with us. Either way.
No, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Yes, sir. Ashutosh, back to you, sir.
Yeah. So deep tech is something which is very relevant right now, not just in the US market, in the Australian market as well. Thankfully, the AI and deep tech, boom has started to come to a point where some reasonable companies have started to emerge, and then investments have also become a little more scattered. Deep tech is now divided into categories. So there are IoT-based deep tech or enterprise-based deep tech. So they've now not specifically just a deep tech company, right? So it has become more and more diverged, and there are now investors who are getting into the specific categories of it, right? So there's like Ford and all that, which is doing more into IoT, and then there are some which are doing different stuff. But it's still a very grooming field.
Question from Avnish as well regarding
how venture landscape is changing for deep tech. We provide AI platform-based solutions for ITC. So the venture landscape, like I said, I mean, for deep tech has been a little more scattered now. It's no longer that like one size fits all, and especially for looking at the oil to chemical, right? I don't know much. So I'm not gonna apply my brain there also as much as I would want to. But I would go for companies who are into industrial, right? So there are like GE Ventures, and then Intel has its own wing, which are investing heavily into oil and gas. So I would reach out to them because they are into deep tech, and that's the hottest field right now.
There was something I heard also, which was like what we call today deep tech will just be tech tomorrow. So
yeah, I mean, so that's why they say that there's this graph, right? So for deep tech, blockchain, and all these nonsense, right? So we are at the cusp where the adoptions will start, and then the buzzword will start to die off. But right now, these are more of buzzwords.
I have one more tactical question. This is regarding. We already have a company called Geek Online Ventures Private Limited, right, which has been running for 12 years, and now Sustainify almost is like a extra arm of it. So, how does that come into the investor? Like, is it that association is good, or that association should not be pictured?
No, I would not say it should not be pictured. Right? I mean, if you are a successful founder, you are showing that you have success, right? So I would not say that it doesn't play into it. Right?
Sure.
It definitely does. The one question that will come to you is that how much of your time is dedicated to this? Right? So are you doing 100% time, or you are not doing that? So that's one question that you have to fend off.
Right.
But other than that, having an existing company which is very successful is always a plus.
Got it. Thank you.
So fantastic. Hey, thanks, Ashutosh, and Mayank and Dr. Simi. Dr. Simi, you should also tell us something. So you're going to be approaching investors at some point of time. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people can give you a lot of gyan. We can only do so much for you, because ultimately you got to do the walk the talk. Okay, so building confidence and having a very beautiful ability to communicate with confidence. And remember that it's a pitch deck or the first pitch is about getting the next meeting. Okay, so don't worry about it. Anything else that you would like to ask? Anything else that you feel you want to clarify? Please go ahead.
In terms of the potential, I think this is having a not only India as market, it can grow up to Europe and US. I think the US market is a very good market because of the regulations in the US. There is no defined regulations for cosmetics, so it becomes a huge challenge in terms of the efficacy and the safety aspects. So this could be a very good platform for brands to try and develop more products in the market, which is at the same time meeting the safety standards, which is not great in terms of regulations in the US. So that's one information that I think I missed in the presentation, because the platform will give the opportunity for the brand to select whether they want to look at exporting or aspects also. They can click on a button and we will be able to tell them whether the product is compliant to the regulations in Europe or in US and in India. So we cover all three major countries. So that is one information that I missed. In terms of going forward, I seriously don't know how to approach and figure out how to get a co-founder for that. So that's where I need help right now. How to get into, figuring out how to get a person on board who has the same kind of passion that we have as a team here, and get this process going.
You got the answer. You do it.
You want to take that? I mean, I think.
No. I think that's something that a lot of people really need. I think it's a necessity. I think we have to have some kind of founder dating, founder matrimony. Maybe matrimony is better, more long term. Dating seems like Tinder. We don't want to do one night stuff. So we'll have like founder dating. I think we should do that. I think it's much needed. Very, very tough, I think. But I think we've been talking about it, Vijeta. We should do, founder dating. It's a very straightforward thing, and we have the platform. There's a lot of need. But make sure, Simi, that Dr. Simi, you're there. Like, if we do it and you're not there, then again, the whole audience. And make sure you call other people, founders like you, who are also, starting up, looking for, partners, founders. So I think we should do that. That's the only real solution. You can't even go outside anywhere nowadays.
Yeah, and small money, don't dilute. It's better to go through family, friends, or whatever. Don't dilute. And Dr. Simi, also pay attention to what Ashutosh said about the compliance. As you go to different markets, different geographies, the law of the land and making sure that you follow those rules and regulations are important. So don't ignore that. Okay, I hope that in your board of, or rather in your advisory team, or you have someone who's from the accounting department or from the legal department. In fact, from April 1st, I have also been reading a lot that the compliance in India also are changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So unfortunately, whether you like it or not, as founders, you got to pay attention to these kind of things. Don't ignore it. Okay. So just a word of caution on that. Compliance is critical. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you have to do it. Okay.
Just to add to that, sorry, two things there. One is that the European market might be more conducive to you than the US market. US market is very product driven, right? So getting a regulation for like an approval which will take away some part of that market won't be very easy. The European market is slightly more upfront in accepting new products like this, right? So you might want to check that. The second thing is you should look into grants. Given the field that you're in, it's applicable for both actually Mayank and Dr. Simi, both of you, that because the field that you're in, Indian government is also investing a lot, right, through various channels. So look at Startup India, look at the different fields, because within Startup India you'll find different departments. So Department of Chemicals, if you see that, right, you might find something that a grant is going on, or they're looking for some kind of a competition where you can enter, because the amount that you're trying to raise, it might be covered in a grant, so you might want to be looking for that. And same for Mayank. I mean, you will not get that much amount, what you're trying to raise from it, but it's a good, hook into the. So definitely look at the Indian government approaches as well. There's a lot going on in the fields that we are.
Right.
I think with Mayank's business also, and even probably Simi, one thing is that follow a very founder first, video first kind of approach, right? Ultimately now, all of us are small companies, and we can't really compete with large companies on logos or brands, right? What we can really, why I would buy a product, let's say of Sustainify, is because if I understand Mayank's mission, or Dr. Simi's mission, this is unique. Nobody else can actually do that, right? So I think, and first of all, I think I would say, my tip, what I did also, and I told a few of my friends, invest in a bit of hardware, right? Like today we live in a remote first world. There is no excuse for, anybody not being on a high quality video that works well, right? It's fundamentals. Because, trust me, I closed my angel round completely on video on my own platform. And, it's what I thought would never happen, actually. I never thought I would close a round. I just, met 2 of them, and the remaining 10 just met them on a call on Sunday morning when they're ready, like Republic TV, and we closed the deal. So, anything's possible. I think first you have to believe and innovate, right? Think out of the box, right? Otherwise, I think now, especially with this coronavirus, it's like, I think not doing something unique is the craziest thing we can do. So you have, for example, Witphone, not just sales, but use this as a remote sales platform. I think you'll see results happen overnight, at least in 14 days, not overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mayank and Dr. Simi, the other request that we also have is, and Jagat, they're both part of the founders feed now. You have added them to the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I think they're the part of the performance.
Yeah, yeah. So we would love you to kind of also pay it forward, show some love, get more founders whom you feel will benefit from these kind of sessions. See, we do this pitch session, we do this Startup Sunday, we do League of Extraordinary Startups. Jagat, of course, runs his own VidPhone show, talking about virtual office and sales tools, remote selling, email campaigns that can be run using a VidPhone, etc. So this is all free and it's all there for the community and ecosystem. But we all need to come together and support each other, because that's the only way the progress will really happen. Okay, and I'm also seeing the comments coming in about yes, that compliance is going to get tougher and tougher. So we have to be ready for it in every single possible way. But all the best. I mean, you guys are wonderful folks doing great work. I mean, Jagat, you too, man, it's like awesome the way you're hustling and figuring things out. Okay. Yep. So it's great. It's 6:15, so I don't want to take up more time. I think Ashutosh just dropped off, but any summary inputs from all three of you as founders, please go ahead.
Dr. Simi, go. Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for organizing it. And as you rightly said, we all have to coexist, and we should do it by supporting each other. So I did know, I came to know about VidPhone only a couple of days ago, and I was telling with my family, I was talking about it with my family. I was saying it's the Indian version of Zoom. So which is very interesting and very proud, to be honest, to be very proud of also. So so it was a wonderful opportunity, and my thoughts has been validated by an investor. In terms of I should go for looking out for a co-founder. So which gives me a bit more much more confidence, in my thought process that yes, that's the right way to kick off from there on. So it's a very good opportunity, and I'm really thankful for that.
Perfect. And thank you once again. All the very best.
Thank you.
Mayank, any words from you? It's been wonderful hearing your presentation.
Great to hear. Actually, this is the first time I've done a presentation for Sustain.ify as a pitch, as an investor pitch, really.
The honor is ours. Thank you.
So yeah, certainly it's like it's the most how do you say, unofficial yet like you can get a sense of it, you can get feedbacks. So really love that. Really love that everybody's here to really give it out, right? Like I see almost no filters, and that's super lovely. And with Geek, there is a lot of opportunities with VidPhone and with these communities that we can grow together, because I think our solutions have a lot of sync. Plus, we have the clientele to reach out to and do something together. So looking forward to be a part of this community and to gain a lot of knowledge. And some points given by Ashutosh were really to the point, and same for you, for Jagat and Vijeta. So please keep continuing what you're doing, and hopefully we have that founder matrimonial thing up soon, because that's
we'll have to think of a nice name.
Yeah. And also there was the other person who was from the tech team. Even his fail fast methodologies is something which is really interesting, and I think every founder should look at these strategy.
Perfect.
Ashutosh is back, so any words from Ashutosh would love to hear if he's listening. Ashutosh, are you there? Parting words?
I am there, but my connection is quite bad, so I just was piecing the conversation. So,
okay. No, we can hear you. Any parting words? We can hear you. Any parting words, if you have any, just for the audience. I think his connection is quite shaky, Vijeta.
Yeah, shaky connections. That's okay. No, that's internet gods. Thank God it didn't collapse during the. All right, so great guys. Have a phenomenal weekend as well. Look after yourself. Thank you, Mayank, Dr. Simi, and of course Jagat for his wonderful work. Yes, but we need to be very consistent in doing more such sessions. So we need your help, guys. Sure. Please connect us with more founders and spread the word out, because unless we pay it forward, nothing moves.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So take care, best wishes, and all the very best with everything. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.